kids eat a lot. 18 years of feeding them is almost $38,000.
Childcare costs generally only last for a few years, but those who pay for it, man, do they pay for it. LendingTree says it's by far the largest annual expense of raising a child.
This report is sponsored by Lear Capital.
Our financial system is cracking under pressure. Your retirement is at risk. Take control now. Lear Capital is offering a free Sky High Silver Report and Precious Metals IRA guide at BetterNestEgg.com. Don't leave your future to chance.
Up next, police in Fairfax County trying to figure out what sparked a deadly shooting last night. 8:13.
Hey, it's Dustin, and I'm with DMV Weight Loss. You look great. Tell me how much weight you've lost and how long it took.
I've lost 65 pounds, about 41 inches, and a little over 6 months.
Tell me what changed about your health with the weight you've lost on DMV Weight Loss.
I have more energy. I feel better about myself. I don't have the aches and pains that I had before. And my cholesterol has dropped 30 points. I can walk steps and not get winded. That's a big one. I have more energy to do just the normal everyday things.
What would you tell someone who is like you and is thinking about losing weight with DMV Weight Loss?
Do it. The program is so supportive. They are always there to help you. If you have a question, they're an email away.
What would you tell someone who is like you and is thinking about losing weight with DMV Weight Loss?
You're eating healthy and it's not hard to stay on.
Most clients can lose 20 to 40 pounds in 60 days. Call DMV Weight Loss now at 571-415-3610 or online at dmvweightloss.com. Results may vary.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or ConsumerCellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
You just realized your business needs to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
Who is Airbus U.S. Space and Defense? A long-time American partner, we deliver world-class satellite, rotary, and fixed-wing solutions to the U.S. government. Did you know every U.S. Army pilot trains on an Airbus helicopter? And the National Guard uses our helicopters to perform border security missions? At Sea Air Space, we'll showcase an unmanned helicopter that will change how America counters its adversaries. Who is Airbus U.S. Space and Defense? We are pioneering aerospace for a secure America.
This just in from Bethesda.
This just in from Fairfax County.
Get this just in, box or your phone. Go to WTOP.com, search newsletter, and sign up for the alerts you want. Breaking local news, traffic, weather. From Washington's top news, WTOP.
8:16, I'm John Aaron.
I'm John Doman. Thanks for being with us. One man is dead, another hurt after an argument in the Groveton area of Fairfax County. This was on John Paul Drive around 8:30 last night. Police say they found a man with gunshot wounds there. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Fairfax County Police Captain Jesse Katzman saying police also found someone else in that area.
That individual was located with stab wounds, and he too was transported to a local area hospital with non-life-threatening conditions.
Police asking anyone with information about what happened there last night to call the Crime Solvers hotline.
Are you worried about your plants as these temperatures drop? Our Valerie Bonk gets some tips from a local gardener.
Jeff Kushner, the owner and president of Plants Alive in Silver Spring, said the best thing to do is wait.
An extra 3 weeks or a month will literally save your plant.
If you go to the store and see the perfect plants, you can buy them. But he says wait to plant them or put them outside. You'll want to keep them inside for now.
They're available now, but I just wouldn't plant anything outside unless it's pansies because that's the late spring crop.
But what about geraniums, begonias, impatiens, and other similar plants?
Wait until May. That will ensure the plants won't get nipped because it sets them back.
If you already did plant, he says try to cover them with plastic to keep the frost away. Valerie Bonk, WTOP News.
Now, a quick look at the top stories that we're working on at WTOP.
The Supreme Court weighs in on 2 big immigration cases.
China vowing countermeasures and says it will fight to the end after President Trump threatens to impose more tariffs.
Keep it here for full details on these stories and more in the minutes ahead.
It is 8:18. Traffic and weather on the 8 to WTOP. Rita Kessler, get them where they got to go this morning.
Well, we have a few new problems going on in the area, so we'll try to start with those first. Northbound 395 in the express lanes near Seminary Road, a broken down vehicle in the left lane. So that's going to be the reason for the delay that we're seeing that begins near the Franconia Springfield Parkway, headed all the way onto 395 towards Seminary. The main lanes then continue slow out of Arlington near the Pentagon, trying to head across the 14th Street Bridge and the Case Bridge. Now, from the other direction, northbound I-295 slows from Malcolm X Avenue across the 11th Street Bridge toward the 3rd Street Tunnel, but also northbound after Malcolm X Avenue before South Capitol Street. Within that delay is a report of a vehicle fire. Southbound DC 295 near Eastern Avenue. Earlier, there was a broken down vehicle in the right lane. Then you find a solid backup from there, headed all the way toward Pennsylvania Avenue. On the Beltway, Outer Loop, Maryland, 95 all the way around toward Georgia Avenue. Inner Loop delays after Branch Avenue toward the Woodrow Wilson Bridge. Outer Loop in Virginia slows out of Springfield toward Van Dorn Street. Inner Loop slows out of Springfield into Annandale. And from 66, headed past the Dulles Toll Road. If you're back in Maryland along southbound 95 before 695, exit 49. It is still just the far right side getting by that wreck. That crash happened in the overnight hours, and it is still most of the left side of the roadway that remains blocked. Your Baltimore delays are all the way out of Rosedale, actually before that now, and trying to head around toward the 895 split all the way past the scene of the crash. Then after that, trying to head into this area, things aren't a bad trip. You do have the volume through Laurel, and then again in Calverton near 212, trying to get onto the Beltway, but your lanes are open that entire stretch. Southbound 29 having delays right now from East Randolph Road headed toward New Hampshire with a report of a wreck and then a delay approaching University Boulevard. We also have a problem in Manassas on 29 near Featherbed Lane and Groveton Road. That was a report of a wreck reported to be in the northbound direction of 29 through the delay into the battlefield, but southbound slows approaching the intersection as well. There's a report brought to you by Fitzgerald Auto. It's a boy, it's a girl, it's a Kia. Fitzgerald Auto Mall welcomes a new brand to the family with Kia of Annapolis. Discover transparency you can trust with your new Kia at fitzmall.com. I'm Rita Kessler, WTOP Traffic.
7 News First Alert meteorologist Eileen Whalen. It is just too chilly out there this morning for many of us.
I know. This is wrong. It is April, and I'm looking at a map that is showing wind chills in the 20s and lower 30s. My goodness. Yeah, Mother Nature not playing around, feeling like winter this morning, and it's going to feel like winter all day. Afternoon highs are only going to get into the mid to upper 40s. We should be around 65 for daytime highs this time of year. At least we'll see a mix of clouds and sun, but the wind, these northwesterly winds, gusting between about 25 to 35 miles per hour right now, and it's going to continue to remain windy through the afternoon, and I'd say later this evening as the sun gets a little lower in the sky closer to sunset, the wind will ease, but overall dry for the most part. I am tracking a few little sprinkles north and west of town, but no measurable rain in the forecast today. Overnight tonight with clear skies and lighter winds, we could dip to the freezing mark. In fact, sub-freezing in a lot of our western suburbs. We do have a freeze warning in effect tonight for Calvert and St. Mary's counties where the growing season has already started. But if you already have some of those potted plants outside, bring them inside tonight. Tomorrow with lighter winds and sunshine, we'll get into the mid 50s, but we won't see temperatures get above average until Monday of next week. And tracking more spring rain showers coming Thursday, Friday into early Saturday. Could see about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of rain with this next weather maker. So keep the coats and eventually the umbrellas on hand. But right now, taking a look at wind chills across the area, and they are low. Right now, it feels like 28 in Gaithersburg. It feels like 30 right now in Bowie, and it feels like 25 in Frederick.
Brutal for April here. It's brought to you by Sonesta Awnings by Lednor Home. Morning, noon, or evening, enjoy your outdoor area in cool shade with a retractable awning from Lednor Home. 888-5-HELMET.
We've got more news in 60 seconds.
4, relax. I'm not hitting a golf ball. This is Dave Johnson. 4 is Window Nation's magic number. Right now, Window Nation's buy 4, get 4 free sale going on through April 30th. And no limit to how much you can save. And if you buy a house full of windows, you ready? They'll include a free entry door, too. Plus, you could get new windows and pay nothing until 2027. Imagine what you could do with all that extra money. Maybe take up golf. But the sale ends April 30th. Hurry. Schedule your estimate at 866-90Nation or visit windownation.com.
Think you know KBR? Think again. KBR is a leader in advanced national security, space, digital, and data solutions. We deliver the technology and expertise our clients need to accomplish their most critical government missions. From integrating new defense tech to digital engineering and data analytics, from astronaut training to global logistics and extreme environments, whatever solution you think you need, think KBR. For faster, smarter, more efficient mission solutions, think KBR. When the mission can't fail, think KBR. KBR, we do things that matter.
Washington's top news, WTOP.
Facts matter.
8:23. The future of the Postal Service remains uncertain as the Trump administration looks to possibly privatize the agency. A rally is set for today at the U.S. Capitol to bring attention to the issue as workers say it's an unfair attack on them. Maryland Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen plans to join postal workers and union leaders at the rally. They say President Trump and Elon Musk are working to slash the workforce, close post offices, and slow down delivery service for rural communities.
I know the weather is not necessarily cooperative with this idea, but you can get a free scoop of ice cream today. And free ice cream is always delicious ice cream. It's Free Cone Day at Ben & Jerry's. They have locations all around the DMV, including National Harbor, Silver Spring, Alexandria. You can get the free cone with the ice cream inside of it, of course, from noon until 8 today. And get this, you don't have to stop at 1. Go as often as you want, just as long as you go to the back of the line first before you go get your second one or third or fourth. The ice cream chain's annual Free Cone Day started back in 1979. That was a way for the founders to thank their customers for all the support they got during their first year of business.
Sports at 25 and 55 brought to you by Amentum, advancing the future together for the intelligence community.
See, Dave, I thought Free Cone Day was a catch, that you'd get the free cone and then to fill it with ice cream's like $19.99 plus tax.
I would think so, yeah.
But no, it's free cone and ice cream.
That's quite a bonus. Yeah. Men's college basketball's NCAA tournament wraps up with a rally for the ages. Florida topping Houston 65-63 after trailing by 12 in the second half. Walter Clayton Jr. he takes most outstanding player honors, netting all 11 of his points over the final 8 minutes of regulation, and he tells CBS.
Our motto is, we all can go, man. We got a team full of guys that could go. It ain't just by me. We got multiple guys on this go that could go get a bucket and do anything. So my team held me down until I was able to put the ball in the basket. Shout out to them boys.
It's the Gators' third national title in 20 years. Houston turned the ball over 5 times in the final 3 minutes and 24 seconds of regulation, sealing their defeat. Baseball Nationals host the defending World Series champs, and with James Wood providing a little power.
Bonda delivers, swinging a high fly ball left center field deep. Back goes Edmund, way back at the wall, going, goodbye!
Charlie slows on 1500 AM. Nats win 6-4 as Wood hits his second homer of the season. Orioles edge Arizona 5-1. Gunnar Henderson goes 2 for 4 with 2 runs scored. NHL Capitals idle until Thursday. Alex Ovechkin taking the league's first Star of the Week honor, scoring 5 goals over 4 games last week. It was a flurry. It was a blizzard of goals.
Yes.
Almost, even though 5 still. But Dave Preston, WTOP Sports.
Thank you, Dave. Up next, after traffic and weather, the steps Congress is or maybe is not taking to keep tariffs in check. It's 8:26.
The following is a paid message.
This is Bishop Michael Burbidge of the Catholic Diocese of Arlington. Palm Sunday marks the beginning of Holy Week, a time of deep reflection as we journey toward Easter. On this sacred day, we recall Jesus' triumphant entry into Jerusalem, where crowds welcomed him with palm branches proclaiming, "Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord." As we hold our palms, we remember that Christ's path to glory was one of humility and sacrifice and love. Holy Week invites us to walk with him, embracing his call to faith and renewal. With the grace of God, do all that you can to make this the holiest of weeks. Slow down, pray fervently, reread the Passion, attend the Holy Thursday and Good Friday liturgies, anticipate Easter with joy, leave the crowd and walk with Jesus. Then you will have a holy week.
Longing to upgrade your outdoor living space this spring, but concerned about costs? Well, not only does Long Fence have the highest quality materials, an expert staff, and priceless designs, financing is available for qualified buyers. And right now, all fences, decks, and pavers are 25% off. Terms and conditions apply. Go to longfence.com for a free estimate today.
There's a long time name for quality. Long Fence.
AI innovations aren't limited to big tech. It's also won over the public sector. Join your peers in government, defense, and intelligence at Oracle's Federal Forum on April 15th at the Westin, downtown D.C. Here, you'll get best practices in improving business processes, database decision-making, operational efficiency, security, regulatory compliance, and learn how Gen AI can positively impact mission outcomes. Register for the Oracle Federal Forum. Free to you at oracle.com/fedforum.
It's 8:28. Traffic and weather on the 8s. Tell us what's going on out there, Rita Kessler.
We have an awful lot going on this morning still in the area. Let's start out in the district where we've had a couple of things going on right now. Northbound I-295 after Malcolm X Avenue before South Cap was a report of a vehicle fire. This is a delay now coming out of Blue Plains headed past Malcolm X Avenue. Then a brief break. Then it slows before the Suitland Parkway getting on to the 11th Street Bridge. Now southbound DC 295, there had been a broken down vehicle in the right lane at Eastern Avenue. Then a brief break, then a delay all the way to Pennsylvania Avenue. You'll also find eastbound Independence Avenue at Ohio Drive in Southwest. The right lane is blocked with a broken down vehicle. In Maryland, eastbound I-70, still in a big backup before Maryland 66 headed towards 17 in Myersville. Before 17, still single file left, gets by the crash cleanup. That crash involving an overturned truck. If you're thinking of taking 40 instead, that is still solid all the way along that stretch as well, as a lot of you decided to take that instead. In Upper Marlboro, northbound 301 after Croom Road, a report of a wreck. Bright Seat Road at 202 had been the scene of a crash. In Virginia, northbound 395 in the express lanes near Seminary Road, a broken down vehicle in the left lane. Delays out of Springfield. Also, delays continuing in the main lanes after that, headed all the way to Glebe Road, and then from the Pentagon across the 14th Street Bridge into the district. In Manassas, 29 near Featherbed Lane and Groveton Road was a report of a wreck, and we're still seeing the big backup along northbound Route 1 in Woodbridge. These delays are before the Prince William Parkway, trying to make your way to the Occoquan, where we had a report of a wreck. This report brought to you by the Annapolis Boat Show. Launch your Chesapeake Bay adventures at the Bay Bridge Boat Show at Safe Harbor Narrows Point, April 11th through 13th in Graysonville. Tickets at baybridgeboatshow.com. I'm Rita Kessler, WTOP Traffic.
In the forecast now with 7 News First Alert meteorologist Brian Vandegraff.
We're tracking gusty breezes and colder temperatures. Wow. Yesterday we got some good rains and some chilly air. Today, some chilly air, but drier conditions. We'll throw in a breeze, though, out of the west-northwest. That'll make that upper 40s feel more like the low 40s and upper 30s at times. Talking about 30s, that's where we're headed tonight with clear skies. Temperatures right around the freezing mark. If any tender vegetation out, give it a cover. Heading into the afternoon tomorrow, we'll warm things up with good sunshine, mid-50s, upper 50s for Thursday with a chance of some rain. I'm 7 News senior meteorologist Brian Vandegraff in the First Alert Weather Center.
35 in Germantown, 37 in Annandale, 37 at DuPont Circle.
You're listening to WTOP, Washington's news, traffic, and weather station.
The WTOP producer's desk is wired by IBEW Local 26, where electrical contractors come to grow.
Good morning, I'm John Doman.
I'm John Aaron. Acacia James is our producer.
Our top story this morning, new tariff-related legislation in Congress would shift power away from the president and put more control in the hands of lawmakers. But it's getting a chilly reception from Republican leaders in the House and Senate. WTOP's Mitchell Miller today on the Hill.
The legislation in both chambers has some GOP support. It seeks to reassert congressional authority over tariffs, requiring a president to alert lawmakers to tariffs to be imposed and allow them to vote on tariffs if they go on for 60 days. But House Speaker Mike Johnson believes President Trump needs more leeway, telling reporters he was elected to
get this economy going again and get our trade properly balanced with other countries. I think most of the American people understand the necessity of that.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune has similarly indicated he doesn't think a Senate tariffs bill will move forward. But Democrats argue allowing the tariffs to stand could spell disaster for consumers and the economy. On Capitol Hill, Mitchell Miller, WTOP News.
Now, the rhetoric surrounding tariffs is escalating between the U.S. and China. China is now vowing to fight to the end after President Trump threatened to slap an additional 50% tariff on Chinese imports. China's Commerce Ministry accused the U.S. of blackmail and warned that more retaliatory measures could be on the way. Trump's threat of additional tariffs on China is raising new fears of an escalating trade war, one that could further rattle the global economy. If Trump implements the new tariffs, U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods would reach a combined 104%.
In a narrow 5-4 decision, the Supreme Court ruled to allow the Trump administration to resume deportations of alleged Venezuelan gang members under the Alien Enemies Act. That's a wartime law dating back to 1798. The administration invoked the act last month, justifying the removal of suspected gang members to El Salvador.
The Supreme Court made very clear, at least the 5-justice majority, that the president has to follow due process. And while that was certainly in question for those plane loads of migrants that had already been sent to El Salvador, the court here says, yes, but you need to give notice and you need to afford what they called reasonable time, and in such a manner that will allow people to actually seek habeas relief in a court before they're shipped south.
That's ABC News senior Washington reporter Devin Dwyer.
It's still not clear what's going to happen to a man from Prince George's County who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador. The Supreme Court has temporarily paused the lower court order that would have required the Trump administration to bring Kilmar Abrego Garcia back to the U.S. Chief Justice John Roberts is giving Abrego Garcia's attorneys more time to respond to the government's request to keep him in El Salvador while the legal fight plays out.
The order by the Chief Justice holds things in place while the justices consider the arguments that the government has that a federal judge cannot order them to bring somebody back once that person is in a foreign country because the U.S. government has no power over a foreign country. The other side, the lawyers for Abrego Garcia, say there are many, many times that immigrants are deported from the U.S., their immigration cases are still pending, and if they ultimately win, the government is required to facilitate their return to the U.S., and this shouldn't be looked at as anything different than that.
That is Wall Street Journal Supreme Court correspondent Jess Barvin.
Maryland lawmakers wrapped up their legislative session last night by passing a watered-down immigration bill after failing to reach a deal on any broader proposal. More on that from WTOP's Alan Etter.
Advocates who work with migrant groups are not happy. The legislation that made it through did not contain language from the original House bill that required counties to work with federal immigration officers, but would have precluded participation in so-called 287G agreements. That's where local police would act as ICE agents. That prohibition was the primary goal of advocates as immigration enforcement from the Trump administration increases. What it does include is an allowance for sensitive locations like schools and churches to decide for themselves how to respond. It's now in the hands of Governor Wes Moore, who has said the state will always cooperate with federal law enforcement, but disagrees with how the administration is handling immigration enforcement. Alan Etter, WTOP News.
Still ahead after traffic and weather.
What's a FICO score? You know, but 80% of teenagers don't. I'm Jeff Laybaugh.
It's 8:35.
Download WTOP's new podcast, Founding DC, where entrepreneur and restaurateur Dan Simons shines a light on businesses homegrown in the backyard of the nation's capital and the entrepreneurs that make them thrive. In this episode, Dan talks to Mark Ian. Mark is a DC venture capitalist and a founding partner in the Washington Commanders ownership group.
I've heard you say that sports and music bring people together. Why do you care about bringing people together?
And now, a word from our sponsor. Founding DC is presented by NFP, an Aon company delivering the insurance and risk management expertise, insight, and service you need. Learn more at nfp.com.
My mom was actually a young child in the Holocaust, and fortunately and really quite miraculously, they survived. From a very young age, I was like, you never know from one day to the next what's going to happen. And while you're here, you should make the biggest difference you can. For me, one of the ways of doing that is with these platforms where we can bring people together. The two things that bring people together at scale are sports and music. And I'd say sports even a little bit more because everyone's cheering for the name with their city on the front of the jersey. And it doesn't matter what your age is, where you live, your income, your job, your politics. Everyone's there to root for the team. And so for me, to be that kid from Chevy Chase who wants to make a difference in life and have these platforms where you can go to our stadium and see 60,000 people all coming together.
Listen and subscribe to Founding DC wherever you get your podcasts.
At Shulman Rogers, we're more than a full-service law firm serving clients across the DMV and beyond. We're connectors. Whether it's access to key resources, industry contacts, or strategic introductions, we're here to help our clients grow and thrive. That's why we're proud to sponsor WTOP's latest podcast, Founding DC. It's more than a platform. It's a way to connect, collaborate, and build relationships with the region's power players. Shulman Rogers, your legal partner and your connection to success.
We're coming up on 8:38. Traffic and weather on the 8th. Let's go to Rita Kessler in the WTOP Traffic Center.
Well, let's update a few things going on in the area. Looks like the wreck that we had been seeing on Route 1 in Woodbridge near the Occoquan has cleared. Delays are definitely easing back. You still have a slowdown trying to get to 123, but your lanes are open and remain that way headed across the Occoquan. You'll also find northbound 395 in the express lanes near Seminary Road. That was a broken down vehicle in the left lane. Keep an eye out in case they're still there because those delays are starting to ease a bit. The main lane slow from the Pentagon across the 14th Street Bridge into the district. Also, 29 near Featherbed Lane and Groveton Road. Callers report that crash out of the roadway. A couple of police cars still there off to the side, maybe a vehicle that was involved, but 29 is open both ways there in Manassas. Now, in Maryland, it looks like the long-standing crash we had on southbound 95 before the Baltimore Beltway may have cleared out of the roadway. Those delays have also started dissipating as well, and we still have 95 in good shape southbound from 195 headed all the way to the D.C. Beltway. Eastbound I-70 before 17 in Myersville. It's still single file left getting by that truck crash cleanup from earlier this morning. So your delays on I-70 are definitely before Maryland 66 headed past the scene, and then it looks good headed to 270. Northbound 301 in Upper Marlboro after Croom Road, a report of a wreck. We also had one on Bright Seat Road at 202. While in the district, northbound I-295 with the delay out of Blue Plains trying to head toward Malcolm X Avenue, that's where we had a vehicle fire. Then the delay continues from the Suitland Parkway onto the inbound 11th Street Bridge. Inbound on the Suitland Parkway near Branch Avenue, that may be the scene of a new wreck. Southbound DC 295 slows to Eastern Avenue where there'd been a broken down vehicle in the right lane, and then a delay that takes you to Pennsylvania Avenue. Some problems on the Beltway in Maryland, the outer loop near New Hampshire Avenue. There was a broken down vehicle in the right center lane, and on the inner loop before I-95, there was some debris in the right center lane as well. So two things to watch out for on both loops of the Beltway. Rapid radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. I'm Rita Kessler, WTOP Traffic.
Out of the PJ Fitzpatrick Home Improvement Weather Desk with their lifetime warranty on materials and labor, trust PJ.com. Your 7 News First Alert meteorologist, Brian Vandegraff.
Gusty winds today. That'll be the story. Blustery, cold conditions. Highs only in the upper 40s, but feeling cooler with those winds. I mean, before you even step out the door this morning, think about getting some extra layers. We're in the 30s early on, so just a very fall-like feel here in early spring. Now, headed through the evening, temperatures will fall back into the 30s downtown, some 20s in the burbs, so very, very cold start to your Wednesday. Wednesday afternoon, plenty of sunshine and eventual warming, mid to upper 50s. Upper 50s Thursday with a chance of a few showers developing. I'm 7 News CU meteorologist Brian Vandegraff in the First Alert Weather Center.
This weather stinks right now. It's chilly. 35 in Germantown. We have 35 in Springfield, and we have 37 degrees in downtown D.C.
And we have money news at 10 and 40. It is possible stocks could gain back some ground at the open today. Right now, Dow futures are up about 3%. S&P futures are up nearly 3%. It comes after the S&P 500 posted 3 straight days of losses in response to President Trump's new tariffs.
And speaking of tariffs, Mercedes-Benz says it will not increase sticker prices on its 2025 models, even though it must now pay a 25% tariff on vehicle imports to the U.S. Imports accounted for about a third of the cars and SUVs that Mercedes sold in the U.S. last year. The chairman of the Mercedes-Benz dealer board tells Automotive News holding the line on prices will help keep the brand competitive.
More high schools are adding financial literacy courses, and 2/3 of students taking them say they're helpful. WTOP business reporter Jeff Claybaugh says many students still miss the basics.
Junior Achievement of Greater Washington just surveyed a group of high schoolers who have completed financial literacy courses. 80% couldn't explain what a credit score was. 43% said an interest rate of 18% on debt sounds reasonable. only 1 in 3 save part of any money they earn.
42% of teenagers say they're afraid they won't have enough money to cover their future needs and goals.
It's 8:42 and South Korea needs a new president. So they'll be holding a special presidential election June 3rd to choose a successor after the last president was ousted over his imposition of martial law. Last week, the Constitutional Court there unanimously removed him from office, which by law must be followed by an election within 60 days. The next president then gets a full 5-year term. His party facing an uphill battle to restore public confidence and heal internal divisions left by that enactment of martial law.
This could be the world's first known de-extinction.
Researchers at Texas-based Colossal Biosciences say they've bred 3 dire wolf pups made famous on HBO's Game of Thrones that carry the genes of animals that disappeared from the earth 13,000 years ago, using DNA from ancient wolf fossils found in Ohio and Idaho to create embryos that were implanted in surrogate dog mothers. The result, 2 6-month-old boy pups, Romulus and Remus, and a 2-month-old girl named Khaleesi, after Game of Thrones' Daenerys Targaryen. The company says it plans to bring the dodo and woolly mammoth back as well. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
Just ahead.
How D.C.'s mayor thinks a new federal task force can keep the city pretty and safe. I'm Scott Gelman.
8:43.
And here's today's This Week in History, presented by United Air Temp. Comfort that stands the test of time.
We must carry on.
That's Harry Truman this week in 1945 addressing Congress as president for the first time following the death of FDR.
Can't you see Jackie Robinson?
And this week in 1947, the Brooklyn Dodgers signed the first black player in Major League Baseball. And it was this week in 1965 that the Beatles won the Grammy for Best New Artist.
Comfort that stands the test of time. That's what your family deserves. And that's what United Air Temp has provided for over 90 years. But plumbing problems create safety and sanitation issues, making it difficult to enjoy your home. From repairs to maintenance, United Air Temp offers comprehensive services to keep your plumbing running smoothly. Comfort that stands the test of time. Visit UnitedAirTemp.com.
Comfort that stands the test of time. United Air Temp.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get breaking local news from WTOP and traffic and weather every 10 minutes.
In any room at home where you've got a smart speaker.
I listen in my garage in Greenbelt.
Just tell Alexa to open WTOP.
And get updates from all around the DMV, all around your home.
WTOP News.
8:45, I'm John Aaron.
I'm John Doman. Thanks for being with us. D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser offering suggestions to the Trump administration in response to the president signing an executive order that created a task force focused on cracking down on crime and beautifying public spaces. More from WTOP's Scott Gelman.
One of Mayor Muriel Bowser's ideas requires help from a federal agency.
We also outlined what we understand recently, that the NPS, the National Park Service, has been impacted by cuts.
Because of that, Bowser says the agency has reduced the number of trash pickups along the National Mall. When the cherry blossoms were at peak bloom, she says trash cans were overflowing.
We outlined several fountains that are in the NPS portfolio that don't work. Getting those fixed, that's beautiful.
She's encouraging the task force to offer help to law enforcement, too.
The chief of police outlined, I asked her if this task force could help with police presence in any way, what would be the request?
In response, Police Chief Pamela Smith recommended more park police patrol on the George Washington, Suitland, and Baltimore-Washington parkways. Scott Gelman, WTOP News.
Another senior military officer has been let go. The Trump administration firing a top Navy admiral assigned to NATO headquarters. That'd be Vice Admiral Shoshana Chatfield. It's at least the 9th firing of a senior military officer since the president took office.
Vice Admiral Chatfield joins Admiral Lisa Franchetti, the Navy's top officer, Admiral Linda Fagan, Commandant of the Coast Guard, Lieutenant General Jennifer Short, Senior Military Assistant to the Secretary of Defense. They're all expected to retire. The men who were kicked out, General C.Q. Brown, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General James Slife, former Vice Chief of Staff of the Air Force, General Timothy Hawk, Head of the National Security Agency and Cyber Command, Lieutenant General Joseph Berger III, the Army's top lawyer, and Lieutenant General Charles Plummer, the Air Force's top military lawyer. DEI believed to play a role in all of the firings.
That's WTOP National Security Correspondent J.J. Green.
Now to the top stories we're working on here at WTOP.
A young mother in Waldorf missing for more than a week. Investigators say they suspect foul play.
Maryland lawmakers send the governor a budget that closes a big deficit through spending cuts and tax hikes.
The Supreme Court allows the Trump administration to enforce the Alien Enemies Act, which may allow the administration to rapidly deport alleged gang members.
Full details on these stories in the minutes ahead.
It's 8:48. Time now for traffic and weather on the 8s. Take it away, Reedy Kessler.
Oh, boy, do we still have a lot of delays in the area and a few issues. So let's start out on the top side of the Beltway. The outer loop near New Hampshire is where a broken down vehicle was reported to be in the right center lane with a tow truck on the scene. Your delays on the outer loop are from 95 headed all the way to 29, and then the volume toward Georgia Avenue. Now, the inner loop is starting to slow after University headed toward New Hampshire. It was reported as before I-95. Some sort of debris, maybe some cable and some wires in the roadway in the right center lane. But now we have a new problem on the outer loop of the Beltway after River Road, a broken down tractor trailer in the center of the roadway. So that's the delay. That's from Old Georgetown Road and off of 270 before the lane divide to the point where they merge around trying to get past this broken down truck. Now, southbound and northbound George Washington Parkway are slow through the long-term work. So this is going to be between Spout Run and 123 with a single lane getting by both ways. We have that pretty usual telltale delay trying to get into the district this morning from all directions, trying to get onto the inbound Roosevelt Bridge. And then that continues either over toward the East Street Expressway and the Potomac Freeway or onto Constitution Avenue, headed toward 14th Street. Northbound 395, clearing out in the top part there. Then from the Pentagon to the 14th Street Bridge is where you're going to be slow getting into the district. So that problem that we had on the northbound express lanes near Seminary Road, that left lane may be reopened from that broken down vehicle, given the lack of delay in the area. Inner loop of the Beltway in Prince George's County delays after Branch Avenue all the way to the Woodrow Wilson Bridge. Also, the delay is easing approaching Malcolm X Avenue, so they should have cleared that vehicle fire out of the roadway. Where we do still have the delays after Malcolm X Avenue on I-295, headed onto the 11th Street Bridge, all the way toward the 3rd Street Tunnel. Inbound Suitland Parkway slows from Branch Avenue to Stanton Road, and then not long after that, headed all the way across the Douglas Bridge, trying to get to South Capitol Street. Now, before the Douglas Bridge on the Suitland Parkway, we may have a wreck. Southbound DC 295, the delay has filled in pretty much off the BW Parkway, headed to Pennsylvania Avenue, so that broken down vehicle should be cleared. And eastbound I-70 before 17 is Myersville. They're still doing crash cleanup, a single left lane getting you by. Their support brought to you by Crop Metcalf. Be ready no matter what the temperature with Crop Metcalf's $99 cooling and heating system check. Call 1-800-GO-CROP or visit cropmetcalf.com. I'm Rita Kessler, WTOP Traffic.
And here's 7 News First Alert meteorologist Brian Vandegraff.
We're tracking very cold air this morning. As you step out the door, brrr, you definitely want to wear some layers. Temperatures in the 30s in spots, only in the mid to upper 40s this afternoon. With a gusty breeze, it is going to be rather raw. Tonight, temperatures falling back in the low 30s, even some 20s in the burbs. A very cold morning for your Wednesday. It is going to be rather intense. Now, Wednesday afternoon with good sunshine, temperatures will warm to the mid to upper 50s, so we are headed in the right direction. Later in the week, Thursday, Friday, upper 50s, at times close to 60 degrees, but we'll have extra clouds, and we are tracking some showers Thursday and some scattered rain on Friday. Heading into the big weekend, temperatures will be in the 50s. Could be a lingering shower early Saturday, otherwise some clearing. Sunday, lots of sunshine, near 60. I'm 7 News Senior Meteorologist Brian Vandegraff in the First Alert Weather Center.
And the temperature keeps dropping even with the sun out, down to 34 here at WTOP. We have 39 downtown. It's brought to you by Mervis Diamonds.
The best diamonds in the world are waiting for you at Mervis Diamond Importers. For the largest diamond collection and the best value, visit Mervis. Nobody pays retail anymore. Why should you? MervisDiamond.com.
Coming up, the pros and cons of AI in healthcare. More news in 60 seconds.
Why do large systems integrators hate Defense Ready so much? It's because we provide readiness value in months, not years, and at a fraction of the cost. In fact, readiness was mentioned 24 times during the recent SecDef confirmation hearing, and that's where we come in. I'm Sig Behrens, the CEO of Bermuda, maker of our software, Defense Ready. For over 25 years, Defense Ready has impacted decision-making with 40% process improvement, and we produce reports, including to Congress, with just one click. Now with AI, you can install locally or in a FedRAMP-approved cloud. DefenseReady.com. We put the right people in the right place at the right time.
Thompson Creek Window Company designs, builds, and installs replacement windows without the middleman markup. You get high-quality windows at an affordable price direct from our local factory. Call now for our biggest sale of the year. Take advantage of our best prices and lowest monthly payments on all windows and doors for a limited time. Call 855-57-CREEK now.
This is Washington's top news.
WTOP News.
Facts matter.
8:53.
A new study raises red flags about AI's role in healthcare. More from CBS News correspondent Michael George.
Researchers at Mount Sinai found artificial intelligence bots treating patients with the exact same symptoms gave different treatment advice based on the person's demographics and socioeconomic background. Wealthier patients were steered toward diagnostic procedures in cases where poorer patients were told they didn't need more testing. AI is trained using information from people, so experts say it's vulnerable to the same biases.
Now, despite mistrust of the medical community and massive layoffs at the federal level, students headed into the public health field say they're optimistic about their future. More from WTOP's Kate Ryan.
Nadia Bay and Allegra Boachingol are second-year master's students at the Milken Institute for Public Health at George Washington University. They don't have any second thoughts about going into the field, despite the deep cuts at the Centers for Disease Control, National Institutes of Health, and other federal agencies. But they're aware of the challenges, including the need to fight misinformation. Bay tries to help friends and family sort fact from fiction.
And so I just try to do the best I can in terms of giving them articles to read or sending them videos and just trying to reach them any way I can.
Boachingol says she knows her peers rely on TikTok and Instagram.
A lot of people are becoming like our parents who only took information from Facebook.
Boachingol says she never shares a social media post until she's done some research on it.
And when I say research, it's not looking on TikTok. It's either in my classes, through studies, literature, review, and all that.
Kate Ryan, WTOP News.
Sports at 25 and 55. Powered by Maximus. Moving people and technology forward.
And here's Dave Preston.
You know, I watched the One Shining Moment video again. It's up on X. That and 3 cups of coffee get you going.
There you go.
On a Tuesday morning after watching the title tilt. Men's college hoops, Florida wins the national championship by beating Houston 65-63. Coach Kelvin Sampson's Cougars held without a basket for the final 2:29 of regulation.
I told them be disappointed that they lost, but don't be disappointed in their effort. These guys have played so hard for each other, and to get this far, get a minute, 2 minutes, a shot, something right there at the end of winning the national championship. They have so much to be proud of.
Walter Clayton Jr. is voted most outstanding player in the Final Four. Houston's L.J. Cryer leads all scorers with 19 points in defeat. Baseball Nationals beat the Los Angeles Dodgers 6-4. Kyle Finnegan tossing a 5-out save for manager Davey Martinez.
He understands what he needs to do, so he goes out there and attacks and just does everything he can to try to get 3 outs. I mean, that's who he is. I mean, he has that mentality, that don't matter, if it's the 8th inning, 9th inning, he's just trying to get outs.
Mackenzie Gore gets the win after striking out 7 over 6 innings. Orioles top Arizona 5-1. Zach Elfin scatters 4 hits over 6 frames, but leaves the game with shoulder fatigue. NHL Capitals have a couple days off. Alex Ovechkin had a whole week where he was on and then some, capturing the league's first star after scoring 5 goals over 4 games. Dave Preston, WTOP Sports.
Thank you, Dave. Up next, after traffic and weather, investigators say they suspect foul plays the reason behind the disappearance of a young mother in Waldorf. She's been missing now for more than a week. It's 8:56.
Meet the new Congress. This profile brought to you by the American Bankers Association.
I think we're off to a great start.
North Carolina Congressman Tim Moore represents a new district in the western part of his state. He's glad to see assistance has been getting to residents hurt by Hurricane Helene. And looking forward, he's encouraged that Republicans are moving ahead on issues they campaigned on.
Hitting the ground running, dealing with everything from energy production to border security and so many other issues that we'll be talking about.
Moore serves on the House Budget and Financial Services Committees. I'm Mitchell Miller.
I'm Rob Nichols, President and CEO of the American Bankers Association. The 119th Congress has arrived with new faces from across the country. Each followed their own journey to Washington, bringing their unique experiences. America's banks and their 2 million employees welcome the new members. Working together, let's seize this opportunity to strengthen our economy and give every American the chance to succeed. To see how Congress can help, visit aba.com/blueprint for growth.
This is WTOP News. WTOP FM Washington. WWWTFM Manassas. WTLP FM Braddock Heights, Frederick.
Traffic and weather on the 8s. Over to Rita.
It never stops today. One thing clears, another thing comes back. We have a lot of things still going on in the area. Let's start out in the district, inbound South Capitol Street. Basically, coming from the Suitland Parkway onto South Capitol Street near the Douglas Bridge, there's a report of a wreck. So that's keeping our delay on the Suitland Parkway back near Alabama Avenue. Northbound I-295 is slow near Malcolm X Avenue across the 11th Street Bridge onto the freeway, headed toward the 3rd Street Tunnel. It was eastbound Independence Avenue at Ohio Drive. Earlier, there was a broken down vehicle along the right side. Now, on the Beltway, the outer loop after River Road, the right center lane had been blocked with a broken down tractor trailer. This has delays on the outer loop near Old Georgetown Road and off of southbound 270 before the lane divide. Around past the scene of this, inner loop a little heavy approaching Connecticut. Outer loop topside slows from 95 all the way around toward Georgia Avenue. Now, within the delay near New Hampshire, there had been a broken down vehicle there on the right side, but a tow truck was on the scene. The inner loop no longer seeing a delay before New Hampshire toward 95, so they should have cleared that debris from the right side. And eastbound I-70 before 17 in Myersville, still single file left, getting by the crash. The WTOP Traffic Center is presented by Window Nation. Today, buy 4 windows, get 4 free. Visit windownation.com. I'm Rita Kessler, WTOP Traffic.
The forecast now with 7 News First Alert meteorologist Brian Vandegraff.
Gusty winds today. That'll be the story. First things first, though, a cold morning, some 30s out there. Yeah, some much colder air moving in. And through the afternoon with those gusty breezes, those upper 40s are just going to feel rather raw. Tonight, temperatures right around that freezing mark downtown, some 20s even in the burbs. Wow. No frost or freeze alerts in the city yet. Still too early in the growing season, but if you have any plants out there, cover them up. Mid-50s for highs by tomorrow afternoon. Thursday, Friday, upper 50s with a chance of some scattered showers. I'm 7 News senior meteorologist Brian Vandegraff in the First Alert Weather Center.
37 degrees at Dulles, 39 at Reagan National.
You're listening to WTOP, Washington's news, traffic, and weather station.
WTOP News. Facts matter.
Good Tuesday morning. I'm John Doman.
And I'm John Aaron. Coming up,
the latest in the suspicious disappearance of a young Maryland mother. I'm Neil Euchenstein.
The Maryland legislature sends to Governor Wes Moore a $67 billion budget. I'm Dan Roman.
Will D.C. see a massive military parade this summer? More on that from the city's mayor. I'm Grace Newton.
A deadly shooting last night in Fairfax County will let you know what we know so far.
It's now 9 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. U.S. futures markets have stabilized today. They're up about 2.5% before the opening bell as China vows to fight to the end after President Trump threatened additional 50% tariffs on Chinese imports. Beijing's foreign ministry spokesman through an interpreter.
Pressure, threats, and blackmail are not the right way to deal with China. China will take necessary measures to firmly safeguard its legitimate rights and interests.
CBS's Kelly O'Grady.
This is a refusal to back down. And I also think China is sending a message to other countries that they could be an alternative to these protectionist measures from the U.S. And what does that mean for consumers? It means likely that prices are going to go up.
The Supreme Court has given the green light for the Trump administration to resume deporting alleged Venezuelan gang members to prison in El Salvador. But correspondent Jan Crawford says justices have also ordered due process.
The ACLU is calling this a huge victory because it means the people who are being deported will have to get some kind of notification and also an opportunity to challenge their deportations.
Days of unrelenting rain have swollen rivers in the Ohio Valley, overflowing their banks. The water is destroying homes and businesses. CBS's Nicole Valdez is in Frankfort, Kentucky.
The flooding swamped the historic Buffalo Trace distillery, renowned for its bourbon, which it has been producing for more than 200 years. The company says they haven't even been able to get in and look at how much of their property is impacted.
Freezing temperatures could complicate the cleanup. Want to buy an electric vehicle? Maybe not.
The Gallup poll shows the number of Americans open to buying an electric vehicle has dropped to 51%, down from 59% 2 years ago. The poll doesn't explain the drop, but Gallup says interest was already waning last year before Elon Musk's foray into politics sent Tesla sales plunging. Drivers were already concerned about a lack of charging stations and the driving range of EVs. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
A NASA astronaut and 2 cosmonauts have arrived at the International Space Station after blasting off from Kazakhstan this morning.
And the hatch now is open at 6:28 a.m. Central Time.
A Soyuz spacecraft carrying Johnny Kim and 2 Russian counterparts docking for an 8-month scientific research mission. New research links diabetes during pregnancy to the risk of neurodevelopmental issues like ADHD, autism, and intellectual disability in children. Experts say the large-scale study underscores the need for screening and early treatment in pregnant women. Dow futures up 1,000. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
9:03 on Tuesday, April 8th, 39 degrees, feeling like it's in the 20s at times when you factor in the winds. Actual highs near 50. Good morning, I'm John Aaron.
I'm John Doman. Our top local story this morning, a young Maryland mother missing for more than a week, and now investigators suspect foul play. WTOP's Neil Augenstein has the latest on the search.
23-year-old Lesbia Guerra of Waldorf was reported missing by her boyfriend on April 2nd. She was last seen 3 days earlier at the home she shares with several people, including her boyfriend, who's the father of her 2 children. The Charles County Sheriff's Office says there was suspicious and unusual activity at the home the day after Guerra was last seen. Deputies got a search warrant for the home, but she wasn't there. But a family SUV, a red Toyota 4Runner with a baby on board sticker, was there. Now investigators hope to hear from anyone who saw that SUV between March 31st and April 2nd, including in any isolated or remote areas. During the search of the home, investigators found what they believed to be counterfeit federal documents belonging to her boyfriend. ICE determined they are fraudulent. He's now in custody while investigators search for Guerra. Neil Augenstein, WTOP News.
A $3 billion budget gap that Maryland lawmakers had to contend with was finally solved last night when they sent Governor Wes Moore a budget on the final day of the legislative session. WTOP's Dan Ronan reports.
The highest-earning Maryland residents will pay more in taxes. The state is creating 2 additional tax brackets, but Governor Wes Moore says 94% of residents won't be paying more, and many will pay less.
94% of Marylanders are either going to get a tax cut or see no changes to their taxes at all.
But Republicans, including House member Jason Buckle, criticized the budget for not cutting spending enough and relying, he said, on fee increases to balance the books.
The Senate did something that we did not do in our initial debates on this, which is to include something called a tire tax.
A set of 4 new vehicle tires will cost $20 more under this plan. Lawmakers also passed a measure to increase energy production, including offering incentives to companies to build more solar, nuclear, and natural gas power plants in the state. Dan Ronan, WTOP News.
A big military parade could run through D.C. this summer, marking the U.S. Army's 250th birthday. That is on June 14th. That also is President Trump's birthday. WTOP's Grace Newton has reaction from D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser.
I haven't been directly involved in it yet.
However, Mayor Bowser did say she believes the Trump administration has reached out about the event and are in the early stages of planning.
I don't know if it's been characterized as a military parade.
President Trump canceled plans for a similar event in 2018 after military leaders advised him it could cost nearly $100 million. The president reportedly envisions a parade of heavy military equipment and personnel parading from the Pentagon to the White House. But Bowser says she's not on board for that.
If military tanks were used, they should be accompanied with many millions of dollars to repair the roads.
Grace Newton, WTOP News.
One man is dead and others in police custody after a fight in Fairfax County ended in a deadly shooting. This happened last night on John Paul Drive in the Groveton area, says Captain Jesse Katzman with County Police.
When they arrived, the officers located the man who was suffering from gunshot wounds. He was transported to a local area hospital and pronounced deceased.
He says the other man had been stabbed. He was treated at a hospital for non-life-threatening wounds and is now in police custody.
Coming up on WTOP and Money News.
John, the markets are set for a big Tuesday morning bounce. I'm Jeff Clayball.
But first, we have traffic and weather in 30 seconds.
Who is Airbus U.S. Space and Defense? A long-time American partner, we deliver world-class satellite, rotary, and fixed-wing solutions to the U.S. government. Did you know every U.S. Army pilot trains on an Airbus helicopter? And the National Guard uses our helicopters to perform border security missions? At Sea Air Space, we'll showcase an unmanned helicopter that will change how America counters its adversaries. Who is Airbus U.S. Space and Defense? We are pioneering aerospace for a secure America.
It's 9:08.
Get a precision AC tune-up for only $59.
Michael and Son.
Traffic and weather on the 8th. You've had a lot to talk about this morning. Rita, what's going on now?
Well, we certainly have, and here is what is still sticking around in the area. Let's start out with the long-standing problem along I-70, still causing issues. This is eastbound I-70 before 17 in Myersville, still single file left getting by the crash cleanup. Now, the delay is from 40 headed past the scene. Not as bad as it had been, basically, because as it gets later on, of course, not as many people out on the road, but there is still a delay approaching it with that single left lane getting by. 40 does have a lot of the backup volume because a lot of people didn't want to get onto I-70 to get past it. But again, the crash remains there, single lane getting by. Now, we also still have the problem on the Beltway in Maryland, outer loop after River Road. Now, that broken down tractor trailer was in the right center lane. The delay is still solid after Old Georgetown Road and coming off at 270 at the lane divide to the point where they merge all the way around past the scene. Outer loop topside starting to break up just a bit from 95 around past New Hampshire, and then from University past 29. Southbound 29 a little slow approaching and passing New Hampshire Avenue toward Lockwood Drive, approaching University, and then inside the Beltway approaching Sligo Creek Parkway. In the district, inbound South Capitol Street near the Douglas Bridge, that was a report of a wreck. This is within a delay that begins near Alabama Avenue in stretches, trying to head over that way. Northbound I-295 slows from Malcolm X Avenue past the Suitland Parkway and on to the inbound 11th Street Bridge. Southbound DC 295 still a solid trip from Eastern Avenue toward Pennsylvania Avenue. And the latest problem in Virginia is on 66, but in the westbound direction near 234 Business Sudley Road, there was a truck crash taking the right lane. The WTOP newsroom is furnished by Regency Furniture. Shop Regency for the best dining, living room, and bedroom sets, plus brand name mattresses. Affordable, never looks so good. I'm Rita Kessler, WTOP Traffic.
And our forecast now with 7 News First Alert meteorologist Eileen Whalen.
Feeling more like winter than spring today, with afternoon highs more typical for January. This afternoon, we'll see temps between 45 and 50, but it's going to feel colder with that gusty northwest wind. The wind will start to ease this evening. We'll see a mix of clouds and sun today. Overnight lows will fall to the freezing mark, especially in our western suburbs. Tomorrow, sunny, lighter winds, highs in the mid-50s, and we're in the 50s still Thursday and Friday, but we'll introduce rain chances again. I'm 7 News meteorologist Eileen Whalen in the First Alert Weather Center.
37 degrees in Silver Spring, 39 in Fort Belvoir, 39 in Foggy Bottom, though it is feeling like the upper 20s at times this morning. It's brought to you by Long Fence. Save 25% on decks, pavers, and fences. 6 months, no payment, no interest. Conditions apply. Go to longfence.com.
Money news at 10 and 40 past the hour now. Let's say good morning to Jeff Claybaugh.
Morning, John Dillman. Maybe a break today when Wall Street trading gets underway. Big swings of any kind for the market are not necessarily healthy, but ahead of the open, Dow futures are up more than 1,000 points. That would indicate a 2.5% early gain. Phones will get more expensive if you've been thinking about it. It depends on where they are made. UBS estimates Apple's highest-end iPhone, the 16 Max Pro, could see the price go up as much as $350 if production stays in China. That's already a $1,200 phone. Retail prices for all iPhones will likely go up as much as 30%. Small businesses continue to lose confidence in the outlook for their business and for the economy in general. A small business confidence index fell for the third straight month. The share expecting better business conditions in the next 6 months dropped the most in 4 years. Those hiring is at a 1-year low. Nats fans want bars serving food, not necessarily restaurants serving drinks. So says Duke's Grocery, which has closed its Navy Yard location after just 2 years and reopened it as Problem Child, what Duke's calls a dive bar, $4 beers, wings, tots, and ribs, and free popcorn. A new Duke's Grocery opens this week in Potomac. Jeff Claybaugh, WTOP News.
Their recruiter's expertise and award-winning AI will find you the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
Coming up, another top military leader is reportedly out of a job